Hello everybody, Michael the Librarian of Magic, finding and cataloging the magic and pointing you to it. I'm back again with another What's New on Disney Plus video. Here to describe all the things that hit the Disney Plus service for the week of the 31st of January 2020. There isn't a tremendous amount that was new to talk about this week, but there are a few things to highlight, and there are a couple of interesting things as well. So I'm going to jump straight in. I got my notes right here. New to the service, not an original content this week. They added the 2019 live action Lion King, directed by Jon Favreau, this week, and I haven't gotten around to watching that yet. I didn't get a chance to see it when it was in theaters, but I will be watching that very soon in short order, and probably say something about what I thought of it, either in a What's New video or maybe I'll give it its own video. I haven't decided that yet. But that was added to the service this week. In terms of original content, on the Marvel Hero Project, we got an episode called Soren Seamus, about a kid named Seamus who lives up in Wyoming, Gillette, Wyoming, which isn't tremendously far from where I live. It's a half day's drive or so. I'm in Colorado, USA, and this is a remarkable person who really has a huge heart and really was compelled to do something to help out with wounded and fallen veterans and their families, and decided to begin to figure out how he could be useful in raising money for some of those charities. And he learned how to rock climb when he was 10 or 11 years old and started increasing his skills at it. And by the age of 11, he climbed Devil's Tower in northeast Wyoming, the giant national monument. And then after that, they kind of asked, he was inspired started getting noticed from people around him just because he was a young, successful climber. He set his goals on climbing Grand Teton over on the other side of the state, and he did that as well. And started to get a little bit of attention from that. And then when he decided, how can I use this to do some good and raise some money, he decided to sort of create his own personal triathlon, in which he, I'm trying to remember all the things he did, but he did I believe he did a bunch of running, and then he rode his bike for 65 miles over to Devil's Tower, and then he climbed Devil's Tower, and raised a bunch of money, along the way, people pledging for, miles or climbs or all that kind of stuff, and then donated it to this organization that helps wounded and fallen veterans and their families. And then just, things kind of spurred on from there. He just learned how to raise money and become an activist for those people. He dreams one day of becoming a Navy SEAL or Air Force Special Operations. He's got a big heart for the armed forces. And then at the end, he was able to come down to Colorado in Denver for talk at a conference of the charity that he's been working with. And there he gets a chance to meet Peyton Manning, because the Broncos are his favorite football team, and it's a really cool moment where Peyton Manning shows up and they present him with his comic book and everything like that, and it's really cool. So it was a fun episode, really cool kid, doing really neat stuff, helping out our wounded veterans and their families. So that was Marvel Hero Project this week. On Disney Family Sundays, the craft of the week is these Tangle-themed lanterns, which would be really easy to do, and something that I probably would be interested in doing. Basically, you get these patterns that look like the little floral things, and you get this paper punch and just punch the holes out of them so that the light can shine through it, and then you roll it up into a cylinder and then hang them from hooks that go onto lighting, a string of lights, and then you've got all these lanterns that are all lit up, and it's very nice. It's very simple to do. There is not a ton of materials in this one, other than buying a string of lights and some paper and a puncher, and finding the patterns online and stuff. They have everything you need to do it, and it turns out really neat. It's a pretty fun craft. So that's on Disney Family Sundays. Let's see, all those shows are over. Got my notes here. They added this week a short film called Lamp Life to the Disney Plus Originals section, which is a Toy Story film, about, I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes long, and it basically tells the story of what happened to Bo Peep between the first couple Toy Story movies and Toy Story 4, because she doesn't feature in Toy Story 3, but she's in the first two and she's in Toy Story 4. And this film does sort of a quick recap of what happened to her during that in between time. So if you watch Toy Story 4 and you were wondering what happened to Bo Peep, this tells you what happened, and it features the voice talents of Annie Potts, who voiced Bo Peep in all of the movies, and Woody is in this, but Woody is voiced by Tom Hanks's brother Jim Hanks, who very often does voices for Woody when it's called for, like when they record voices for the toys and things like that, and certain cartoons and things that Tom Hanks doesn't have the time to always be able to do every single Woody project that comes along. His brother Jim does a very convincing Woody, because they sound alike because they're brothers. So he does a very good job in this, and it's just a really fun little short film about Bo Peep's journey, that goes in between the films. So it's called Lamp Life, and it's on Disney Plus now, and it was really fun. I enjoyed watching it. And then Diary of a Future President, the third episode, called Disaster Relief, was released. And in this episode, Elena learns about the concept of a raison d'etre, which is the reason to live, and she's trying to find her reason to live, and she thinks that everybody around her seems to have it figured out or seems to have found their reason. She thinks her reason might be becoming her school's hurricane awareness captain, which, if I hadn't told you before in previous episodes, this show takes place in Miami, Florida, so it's relevant that they would have a hurricane awareness captain. She thinks that might be her purpose. If she loses out, spoiler alert, to some popular kid who also becomes the hurricane awareness captain just because he wants to wear the captain's hat that comes with it. But she learns, in the process of doing that she has a passion for giving speeches and public speaking, which, we already know that she becomes the president of the United States someday, so it makes sense. And that's really interesting. Her mom is involved in a B story in which she's trying to go on a date with her boyfriend, but things aren't working out because parenting gets in the way, and her family is her priority, and she and her boyfriend are trying to figure out whether or not that makes sense for their relationship or how that fits in, and so on. And the older brother Bobby has a B story of his own in which he has feelings for a girl at school, and she has feelings for him, and he thinks that she wants to potentially make out. He's kind of getting the wrong signals, and he doesn't know how to do that, so he and his friends are discussing, how to do things, and it's kind of funny and humorous about all of that stuff. So that's what kind of goes on. There's some funny stuff and touching stuff. There's always a good balance in each episode of this show, and I've really been enjoying it. So that's what Diary of a Future President is all about this week. And then finally, there was a One Day at Disney short clip. There's a guy called Rob Richards who plays the Wurlitzer organ for the El Capitan Theater in California, and it's a really beautiful instrument that was built and designed to be old school and fit into this really old school movie palace theater. And he puts on like pre-movie shows playing Disney scores and stuff like that, and he just talks about his passion for his job and for playing the organ, and that you get to see sort of backstage where they tour what the organ can do and all of that stuff. And it is a stunningly beautiful instrument, and it's really neat to see it in action, and see this guy who cares so much about doing that job and playing the organ and making people happy with his music. So that is the One Day at Disney short for this week. And really, that was all that was added. This will be a very short video this week. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about this time. The end of the month probably gets a little bit lighter than the beginning. I'm sure they'll drop a bunch of new stuff in the beginning of February, and we'll start it all over again for next month. So until next time, thanks as always for watching these videos. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And when the new stuff gets dropped in the first week of February, I'll be back again with another What's New on Disney Plus video. So until then, have an excellent week, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.